Sometimes you just can't see as clearly as you'd like to, especially when healthcare is involved. And in this particular Human Explorer tour, we're going to take a tour of the eye. The pun was intended. It's hard to see when you're dealing with cataracts, and it's also hard to see your way towards how to best deal with them. So let's take a look at something. If I were to log in as an ambassador at the Force for Health, I'd have a menu that oftentimes will get me to a page with badges on it. I like to get at it by clicking on this icon on the left side. And then I like to go to the specific system that we're dealing with. This happens to be eyes and vision. And when I click there, and I've done that previously, it opens it up to where I have a table of contents of 42 different topics that I can choose from. And as I click on those, I see cataracts are there, but I'd like to give you a little bit more of a tour to help you understand it a little bit better. And by the way, I'm Dr. Rob at the Force for Health, and I believe that knowledge is power, and it's the power to learn about something, apply it to yourself, and then use what you've learned to help yourself share what you know with your doctor so that they can share back with you the questions you need answered. So what's the eye? I mean, kind of boring picture. We all know what an eye is, but I want you to look at this one carefully. I want you to notice the white light dot in the middle of the field here. Sometimes at night, a deer in the headlights or a dog or even a person or even on a camera, when that flashing light hits the eye just right, reflects back the retina, and the very back of the eye will reflect red. When you look at an old dog and you look carefully, you won't see that white, you won't see that red, you'll see gray. But let's look at the eye. Let's turn this person on their side. The eye is a very complex structure, and this is for another lecture. But suffice to say that these muscles steer it, these blood vessels supply it, these glands lubricate it, and it all comes down to creating a signal that goes into the optic nerve in the back that takes it to the brain so that you can see. That's an important thing. So the cataracts, for those that are interested, are not on the outside of the eye. Well, let's go look at something else. Let's look at the eye light path here. See my menu on this one? It's going to take me to another model. And I like to use this to illustrate the concept of there's really three parts of the eye. If you look from this side, there's the front that you're used to seeing. And you basically have an eyeball. It literally is shaped like a ball. There's three parts of the ball. There's the front, which controls how much light comes in. There's the middle, which controls how it's focused. And there's the back that receives the light and does all the work electronically and chemically to send it to the nerve. So let's look at that. The front of the eye here has a clear layer over the very front. It's called the cornea. Usually it's good unless it gets scratched, and if it gets scratched, it hurts. Just inside the cornea is this thing called the iris, like the iris on an old camera. It's basically a circular set of muscles with little strands. When you look at the iris from behind, myself and my colleague in Tucson believes it looks like a sunflower when you see the entire iris. It's spectacularly beautiful. But look at that, these little muscles pulling on these strands, which pull on a membrane, which opens and closes that iris. And when it opens and closes that iris, it lets in either a lot of light if it's dilated in black. The black is not a structure. The black is the absence of your iris. I happen to have brown eyes. My grandchild has blue eyes. The iris is that's the color of the iris. But what's important here to realize is that that light comes in and it goes through this structure right here. It's the lens. This structure right there, that guy is the lens. And what that lens does, it's like a piece of jelly or plastic or plexiglass that's formed in a certain way, and it's suspended there so the light comes in at a specific aperture like on a camera. And it's focused into a beam, and that beam takes it to the macula, this very refined area on the retina, which is in the back of the eye. And if we were to zoom in really tight there, we'd see all sorts of receptors that then eventually connect to nerves, cones and rods to nerves to send that signal out. The point is, this lens is like a piece of plexiglass. It is clear as day. It's just clear as can be. Now let's look at what happens. Let's go find another one here, the model called the Cataracts. It's not my favorite because it just looks like a gray blob in the frontal or anterior section of the eye. But see, here's the old dog. So if your father, your husband, your sister-in-law looks like an old dog, it's not their fault. When that iris is open, the pupil, instead of being black or having that red reflection, you might see a little bit of gray or a lot of gray. And as one zooms in here, it's hard to see because there's a lot of other structures being illustrated in this eye. But can you see the lens there, right here in the front of the eye? It's a little bit gray. Well, what do you do about that? Well, you can do a surgery. Sometimes drops help, but it's on the inside of the eye, so it really doesn't. But if you numb up the eye and you sedate a person and you hold their eyes open once they're sedated, those drops can put the eye to sleep, and tiny little incisions can be made along one side. And with little tiny instruments, one can go in, free up this lens or break it up, grab the pieces and pull it out the side, and pop in a brand new lens. Very exciting. As one of my ophthalmologists said to me, I'm a lung doctor. He said, how many of your patients, when they're done with an hour with you, hug you and thank you for a miracle? And I said, very rarely. They said 9 out of 10 do it for me. If you don't believe me, let's go to the National Institutes of Health, which is one of my favorite places to go for research, at least at this time. This is run by scientists, not by politicians at this time. The National Eye Institute has a great fact sheet on cataracts. But just to review, you diagnose it with a dilated eye exam by a skilled person. The treatment is surgery. These are scarring in the cataract. More than half the people age 80 in the United States get these things. There's a variety of types, but usually it's just getting older. Sometimes it's after an injury like a foreign body or you got stuck in the eye as a child. The symptoms: colors look faded, things are a little bit blurry, there's a halo. Sometimes you see double, but seeing double is a big deal. If it's not cataracts, it could be something much more serious. You must go to the doctor and tell them you have double vision if it persists. Are you at risk for cataracts? Yeah, you are if you live long enough, but also if you drink, smoke, spent a lot of time in the sun or living down south or on steroids. And then how do you prevent them? Protect your eyes from the sun, the sunglasses, quit smoking, make eye healthy food choices. It's funny, my parents always told me to eat carrots, but I don't see it in the thing here. Carrots have antioxidants in them. So I'm not sure about food healthy choices, but it looks like the NIH suggests fruits and vegetables, leafy greens, nuts and whole grains. Point is, once you have cataracts, it's not going to help with your diet. Home treatment, yeah, brighter lights, anti-glare sunglasses, don't drive at night. Bottom line, surgery is what's needed. To learn more about surgery, there's another page attached here, but it basically tells you what I told you. Surgery lasts about an hour. And that's it. It lasts an hour, and 9 out of 10 people have a good outcome from it. So I'd like you to really think carefully about making sure you can see what I'm talking about. And if you can't, become an ambassador or join the Force for Health and utilize the variety of different tools, all of these about the eyes, and there's many others for you to choose from. So at this point, I'd like to stop sharing and basically say, learn it. I hope you learned a little bit. Live it. Apply it to yourself, especially those of you down south. Protect those eyes. Share it. Share those questions, informed questions, impress a doctor or nurse. but also share what you've learned with others. And I'm sharing with you Force for Health and that NIH uh, site and notes from that site as an adjunct to this video. I hope you um, have good outcome if you're watching this, and enjoy and protect the gift of sight, the gift of life, the gift of health. Isn't it great? Okay. Be thankful for what you have. Have some gratitude, not attitude, about this. You're about to have one of the simplest surgeries that were ever invented, even though it sounds awful, being in the eye. The tools and the technology have evolved wonderfully by people much smarter than me. All right. Have a good day. Good vision to you.